All right, guys, we are back because of Mr. Terupt. I counted. We are on chapter 100. That means we've heard from these students, from these 7 students, 100. Well, this will be our 100th time. Wow. You and I have been through a lot together. Go us. Okay, here we go. This is Jessica's chapter. So what just happened was Anna and Danielle's moms and Anna and Danielle prayed together. And that was really huge because we really want them to all get along. So, all right, here we go with Jessica. Act 11, Scene 5. We dropped Lexi off first, then Jeffrey. I sat in the front passenger seat and Jeffrey sat in the back. Before he got out, I asked him, "You okay, Jeffrey?" "Yeah, I'm okay," he said. "Thanks for helping me in there." "Thanks, Mrs. Reitman, or Miss Reitman." "You're welcome," we said together. I'm sure everybody's wondering what's up with me," he said. "Don't worry, your secret's still safe," I said. Jeffrey opened the back door, but he didn't get out right away. "There's something I've been meaning to tell you, Jess. What happened to Terupt isn't your fault. You need to stop thinking that it is." Jeffrey's words startled me. I did feel guilty. I'd roped Danielle and Anna in my wicked plan, which led to Peter's devastating snowball. "Then why did it happen, Jeffrey?" I said. "I told you things happen for a reason, and I still don't know mine." "Neither do I," he said. But not knowing the reason doesn't make it your fault." We sat quietly. Mom didn't say anything. I stared down at my hands. They longed for a book to hold. I fidgeted with my nails and cuticles instead. Then Jeffrey spoke again. "I know one thing, Jess." He'd called me Jess twice now. "You've helped me. I haven't had someone to talk to in a long time. Thanks." He climbed out of our car and shut the door. Before driving away, we saw Jeffrey's mom standing at the front door of his house waiting for him. And she wasn't wearing pajamas. They hugged. You guys, I love that. She used to always be in bed, and now she greets him at the door. Jeffrey changed her life. Oh my gosh, I love it. Mom and I had tears in our eyes as we drove away. More of Mr. Terupt at work, I just knew it. We hadn't driven very far before Mom broke the silence. "Jessica, I need to tell you some things that even adults have a hard time understanding, but I need you to try, okay?" I nodded and sat up straight in my seat to readjust my seatbelt. "I know you've been wrestling with the issue of whose fault Mr. Terupt's accident is, as have many of your classmates. Poor Peter is really struggling, and I'm afraid the only one that might help him is Mr. Terupt." Mom slowed to the stop sign and looked both ways. I can't talk, I'm too excited. Slowed to the stop sign and looked both ways. "So whose fault is it?" I asked, my voice rising. "Emotion can do that to you." Mom just went with the flow. She turned the car left and stepped on the accelerator. "Mr. Terupt," she said. I looked out the window. I didn't want to hear it. "Look, Jessica, you don't have to agree with me, and not everyone will, but you need to hear me out. Let me explain." Slowly, reluctantly, I looked at her. I didn't want her to be right. "Thank you," she said. "I told you it wasn't going to be easy." We slowed at a red light. All those instances with Peter earlier on this year, and with Luke's plant concoction and all the other mischief, Mom paused. "I think Mr. Terupt handled them the way he did because he was trying to teach you guys some personal responsibility." The light turned and Mom pushed the gas. "But that's what cost him in the end. He let you play rough that day in the snow and hoped you wouldn't cross the line. But he made it your responsibility not to cross that line because he didn't intervene." "But how is that bad? Isn't that one of the reasons he was so special? Because he gave us those chances?" "Don't use the past tense, honey. He is special." "Fine," I said, annoyed, but glad to talk about him in the present. "But isn't it?" I was annoyed because I didn't want the conversation slowed. I wanted answers. I cracked my window, suddenly hot. I let the wind hit me in the face. "It is indeed one of the reasons he's special, but in the end, you're still just kids, and asking you to assume that much responsibility isn't fair. You can't be expected to handle it all the time, so that's why it's his fault." Mom spoke so calmly, I knew she was trying to keep me from getting too upset. "It's his fault for asking us to act like adults when we're just kids," I said, restating Mom's argument. "Whereas if he had taken the responsibility out of our hands by making us stop playing rough, then there probably would never have been a snowball thrown." I looked at Mom. "That's right, exactly," she said. "Well, I think that makes about as much sense as Dad and his airheaded bimbo." Love it. Our car swerved. Mom was in shock. We hadn't spoken about Dad in a while. but he and his stupid girlfriend boiled to the surface of my upset feelings. Plus, I have a strong vocabulary and could have probably selected a nicer word for her, but I doubt I would have chosen a more accurate one. So now, if Mr. Terupt gets better, he's going to get in trouble. Is that right too? Not necessarily, Mom said, and watch your language. Besides, to say airheaded and bimbo is a bit redundant, though I'll agree the new woman in your dad's life is a real floozy. The car slowed, and Mom pulled into our driveway. She put the car in park and turned it off. I undid my seatbelt. Jessica, I've spoken to Mrs. Williams and some of the other parents and adults at school on several different occasions. We've been talking because we're worried about how you're all dealing with this. Nobody wants to see Mr. Terupt get in trouble, including Mrs. Williams and the school. Everyone knows he's a great teacher. We all just want him to get better. Mom leaned over and gave me a hug. I hugged her back. You know, Terry told me the other day that Anna asked if their situation is her fault. Anna's fault, I said. Of course it isn't. Exactly, Mom said. And I hope you know what happened between your father and me is not your fault either. I needed to hear that. I hugged her again, but I didn't say anything because talking would have made me cry. And Mom was quiet too, I think for the same reason. Quiet love filled our car. Oh, love it. Oh, now we're in June. I think I forgot to mention that we were in May last time. We have one more chapter. We have time for one more chapter. This is Jessica again. We just heard Jessica. Yes, we get Jessica again. All right, here we go. Final act. Scene 1. Welcome to the last day of school, where there's music and movies and games, singing and laughing and smiles all around, cakes and cookies and fun for everyone. At least, this is what the last day of school is supposed to encompass. Ours didn't. Crying wasn't anything I'd ever experienced on my last day of school, but crying was what I felt like doing, and I know I wasn't the only one. We had held tremendous hope for our teacher to be with us by the end of the school year, but he wasn't. I thought he would too. Oh. I kept wondering about the Mr. Terupt I don't know. I've thought a lot about it since that day in the waiting room. Everyone likes Mr. Terupt, but nobody is that close to him, except for Miss Newberry. But even she hopes to get closer. Part of me thinks that it's not just him they're all concerned about, but us too, because they know we're the ones who are really close to him. But how can I even say that or think that when I don't truly know him? Maybe it's because it doesn't matter how well we know him. We love him. I haven't talked to anyone else about this, not even my mom. I want to, but what's the point? He's not here. Mr. Terupt didn't make it. Okay, I don't know if that means he's dead, but unfortunately, we have to stop here. Yeah, I guess we'll find out next time with, I think it's Anna or Alexia's chapter. We'll find out. Wow, I am just, I'm so shocked. I'm so sorry. I did not expect that. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.